If you've just started riding, I need you to hear me out. Because the truth is, most crashes that send riders to the hospital don't come from freak accidents. They come from habits, bad habits that beginners pick up without even realizing it. And the worst part? Some riders never fix them until it's too late. What's up, guys? Matthew here with Autozium. Today, we're talking about 5 deadly beginner habits that can land you in the hospital if you don't break them. So stick with me because avoiding these might just save your life. Let's jump right in. Habit 1: riding like you're invisible. Let's talk about one of the most dangerous myths that gets passed around in the riding world: ride like you're invisible. Now, on paper, that sounds like smart advice, right? It's meant to remind riders to never assume drivers see you, to ride defensively, to stay cautious. But here's the problem: beginners take it way too literally. They actually start riding like they're invisible. They hug the gutter, creep behind cars, hang out in blind spots, and make themselves smaller targets. In other words, they vanish from the road. That's not safety. That's suicide on 2 wheels. Here's the truth. Yes, you should assume other drivers don't see you. But that doesn't mean you should help them not see you. You are already the smallest, lightest, and least protected vehicle on the road. The last thing you should do is make yourself even harder to notice. So instead of riding invisible, think about riding obvious. Be impossible to ignore. Use your lane position to stay in the center of driver's vision. When you're behind a car, line yourself up with their mirrors so your headlight is right where their eyes naturally glance. When you're at an intersection, position yourself where oncoming traffic has to see your silhouette. You're not hiding, you're commanding space. And don't be timid about it. Hesitation reads as weakness on the road. If you're creeping through an intersection or wobbling at a turn because you're scared of taking up space, you're actually confusing the drivers around you. They don't know what you're doing, and confused drivers are dangerous drivers. Use your body language on the bike to send clear messages. Be deliberate, be predictable, signal early, turn confidently, hold your line, and move with purpose. That confidence doesn't just look cool, it communicates safety. Drivers tend to notice and respect riders who look like they know what they're doing. And then there's visibility. You don't need to dress like a traffic cone, but don't underestimate what a bright jacket, reflective strips, or a modulated headlight can do for your survival. Make your bike and your gear stand out in low light. Use that high beam during the day. The more attention you attract, the better. Bottom line: don't vanish, don't shrink, don't blend into the background. The road rewards the riders who own their space. Because when you ride like you belong there, confident, alert, and visible, you drastically cut your odds of ever being invisible in the worst way possible, lying in the middle of the road wondering why nobody saw you. Habit 2: target fixation. Every rider has experienced it. You're rolling down the road and you spot something, maybe a pothole, a chunk of debris, or a car edging out of a side street. Your eyes lock on it, and the more you stare, the more your hands and body follow. Suddenly, that's exactly where you're heading. That's target fixation. And it's one of the most natural, dangerous instincts you'll ever have to unlearn. It's human nature. When we perceive a threat, our brain locks onto it so we can avoid it. It's a survival instinct that works great on foot, but on a motorcycle, it's a disaster. Because where your eyes go, your bike follows. You look at the pothole, you'll hit it. You stare at the car, you'll steer right into it. It's that simple. So how do you fix it? You retrain your vision. You teach your brain that your eyes are steering inputs, not just sensors. Every time you ride, remind yourself, look where you want to go, not where you don't. Start small. Go to a parking lot with a few cones or markers. Practice weaving through them. Keep your eyes up, not down. Don't stare at the cone you're passing. Focus on the next one. Your bike will naturally follow. It feels awkward at first, but then it clicks. And once it does, your control skyrockets. On the road, it's the same concept. When you see a hazard, glance at it just long enough to register what it is, then immediately shift your vision to your escape path. If there's gravel in a corner, Don't look at the gravel, look at the line around it. If a car cuts in, don't stare at its bumper. Look for the open lane beside it. Your bike will go where your eyes tell it to go. Here's the pro level trick: your head leads your eyes, and your eyes lead your bike. So when cornering, actually turn your chin toward the exit. You'll be amazed at how much smoother your lines become. That's what separates riders who fight their bike from those who flow with it. Target fixation isn't just a beginner problem, it's a lifelong discipline. Even seasoned riders fight it when panic sets in. But the riders who stay cool, who've practiced redirecting their gaze, they're the ones who glide out of danger while everyone else locks up and crashes. The fix isn't fancy. It's just awareness and practice. Every ride, every turn, remind yourself: eyes up, eyes through, eyes where you want to go. Because the moment you stop fixating on danger and start focusing on direction, that's the moment you take control of your ride. Habit 3: relying only on the rear brake. The classic beginner comfort zone. The rear brake. Smooth, easy, predictable, until it's not. Here's the deal: your motorcycle's braking power isn't 50-50. It's not even close. Under normal riding conditions, your front brake provides about 70 to 80% of your total stopping force. The rear brake? Maybe 20 to 30%, depending on the bike. So when you rely only on the rear brake, you're basically throwing away most of your stopping potential. The reason beginners love the rear brake is simple: it feels safe. It doesn't make the front dive, it doesn't feel twitchy, and it's easier to modulate. You press down with your foot, the bike slows down, and it feels controlled. But here's the catch: that false sense of control can get you into serious trouble when you actually need to stop fast. Picture this: a car pulls out in front of you at 40 miles per hour. You panic, stomp the rear brake, and the tire locks up. You start sliding, rear fishtailing, no steering control, no traction. You're just a passenger at that point, and the car's getting closer by the second. The fix? Learn to love and trust your front brake. It's not your enemy, it's your best friend. Start by practicing in a parking lot at slow speeds. Squeeze the front brake gently, progressively. Don't grab it like a panic button. Feel how the weight transfers forward, how the front tire digs in, how your stopping distance shrinks dramatically. Then start combining both brakes together. The goal is smooth, even pressure. Front first, then a touch of rear to stabilize. When you get it right, it feels like magic. You stop faster, straighter, and more in control than you ever did with just the rear. Advanced riders even use trail braking, keeping light pressure on the front brake while turning, to keep the suspension loaded and the bike balanced mid-corner. But you don't get there overnight. You earn that feel through practice, repetition, and respect for the physics of your machine. So next time you're riding, pay attention to which brake you instinctively reach for. If it's always your right foot, start rewiring that habit now. Your fingers should be your primary braking tool. Because when things go sideways out there, and they will, it's not the rear brake that saves you. It's your ability to smoothly, confidently use the front. That's not just skill, that's survival. Habit 4: riding beyond your skill level. This one's tough love, but it needs to be said. Too many riders crash not because their bikes failed them, but because they tried to ride like someone they're not yet ready to be. Every new rider hits that phase. You've been on the bike a few weeks, confidence is starting to build, and you finally stop white knuckling the bars. Then you hit a twisty road and suddenly think, yeah, I can take this corner faster. Or your buddy on a sport bike rockets off, and your ego whispers, you can keep up. Next thing you know, you're diving into a corner too hot, fixating on the guardrail, grabbing a handful of brake, and praying the bike doesn't stand up and toss you into the ditch. That's not skill. That's luck, and it runs out fast. Here's the thing: speed covers up bad habits until it exposes them. When you're going slow, you can mask sloppy throttle control, lazy posture, or bad corner entry. But crank up the speed, and those little mistakes multiply. You run wide in a turn, you panic brake mid-corner, or you lose traction on a road you thought you knew. Riding fast doesn't make you experienced. It just gives your mistakes less room to breathe. If you want to ride like the pros, don't chase adrenaline. Chase precision. Ride your own ride. Ignore the group pace. Take the corner at your comfort level. Focus on smoothness, not speed. The best riders in the world are calm, measured, and consistent, not reckless. They can go fast because they spent years going slow, learning how their machine reacts to every input, every surface, every lean angle. A good habit to build? Set your own pace ceiling. On every ride, know the point where you feel in control and stop just short of it. That's where learning happens. Every lap, every ride, you expand that ceiling safely through experience, not ego. And if you really want to push limits, take it off the street. Track days aren't just for racers. They're for anyone who wants to learn what their bike can do in a safe, controlled environment. You'll gain skills that street riders never touch, and you'll do it without gambling your life against oncoming traffic. Riding beyond your limits doesn't make you brave. It makes you blind to the reality that skill takes time. Every pro rider you admire once looked awkward, slow, and cautious. They earned speed through patience, through practice, and through respect for the learning curve. So when that voice in your head tells you to send it before you're ready, remember this: the road will always be there tomorrow. The question is, will you? Habit 5, skipping gear, because it's just a quick ride. Let's be real, we've all done it. It's a sunny afternoon. You just want to grab a drink or pick up something nearby, and you think, I don't need the jacket this time. It's just a 5-minute ride. Then you roll out in a t-shirt, maybe sneakers, maybe even shorts, and tell yourself it's fine because you're not going far. But here's the hard truth. The road doesn't care how short your ride is. Crashes don't schedule appointments. They don't wait until you're suited up. They happen when you least expect them. And often when you're feeling the most relaxed. Ask any paramedic or ER nurse. They'll tell you the worst injuries often come from just a quick ride. And it's not just about crashing. Ever had a pebble hit your shin at 60 kilometers per hour? Try one at 100. That's not a minor sting. That's a bruise or a cut that reminds you why pants exist. A small fall at city speed can mean shredded skin, broken bones, or weeks of painful recovery. But beyond the pain, there's something deeper: discipline. Wearing your gear every time you ride isn't about comfort. It's about respect for the machine, for the road, and for your own life. Every time you gear up, you're telling yourself, I take this seriously. And that mindset carries into every decision you make on the bike. Does it suck sometimes? Yeah. It's hot, it's heavy, and sometimes it feels like overkill. But so does an airbag, until the moment it saves you. And let's talk about modern gear for a second. We're not in the 80s anymore. There's lightweight mesh jackets that breathe better than cotton. There's riding jeans with Kevlar reinforcement that look like casual wear. There are gloves designed for comfort, helmets with cooling vents, and boots that protect without clunking around like stormtrooper armor. The excuses are gone. Because here's the thing. Protection isn't about paranoia. It's about probability. You don't wear a seatbelt because you expect to crash. You wear it because you can't predict when something will go wrong. Gear is the same. You might not need it 99 times out of 100, but that one time, it's the difference between walking away and being scraped off the pavement. So make all the gear, all the time, your baseline. Helmet, gloves, jacket, pants, boots, every ride, every distance. You'll look more legit, feel more confident, and you'll build a habit that could save your life. Because just a quick ride has ruined a lot of riders who thought they were careful. Don't be one of them. Be the one who treats every ride like it matters, because it does. I'm Matthew, this is Autozium, and if this helped you, make sure you hit that subscribe button for more riding tips that actually keep you safe. Now I've got to ask, what's the worst beginner habit you're guilty of? Drop it down in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories. Ride safe, ride smart, and I'll catch you in the next one.